Okay, it's Sunday morning, and I got a little time to work on the car, so I've been working on it actually. Working on the fuel line. I'm having real problems with that. I've got the return line running from the motor back, but the supply line is become a little challenging because GM, I'm using a 1990, or I want to use a 1990 Corvette filter, but they have little termination ends. It's like a round disc with a little tit that sticks off of it that goes into the filter with a inverted flare nut on the back, which is why I really want to use it. I can have one continuous line to the filter, another line that comes out of that to a inverted flare, not inverted flare, to a AN fitting, you know, that is compression fit, that you can come off of that and go to your gas tank. So you'll only have like 3 or 4 feet of AN fuel line from the lines to the tank. I did that on the return line, that's not a problem. But on the supply line, I don't know how to make those fittings. And you can buy them, you know, and then put unions and hook them up. But then you end up with a union before the line, then the filter, then another line, then another union. The more connections you have, the more potential for a leak. So I'm debating on how I'm going to do that. Another option is to spend like $35 and buy another filter, an AN, and then take your hard line and turn that into an AN fitting going into the filter. Coming out of that, the negative on that is you're getting a filter that you're going to have to change every year. It's a real pain in the ass, and I don't know that I want to do that. I like that. The GM filter is a good filter. It's not expensive, and whenever you can use a part like a factory part, even if it's not for your car, it has its positive attributes. What can I tell you? But that's not what I'm doing today. I decided on working on, because I had put in the gas tank and the fuel system, I wanted to get the fuel gauge, and to do that I needed my gauges and I needed my dash done, right? So I went ahead and ordered the gauges. They have not come in yet. A lot of things haven't come in yet. Some of my, I'll tell you in a second. You know, anyway, they haven't come in yet, so I want to get the dash ready for the new gauges. I've watched a lot of videos on how to redo the gauges, or the dash, I should say. Custom Sprayways has a beautiful video using fleece and fiberglass resin and making a custom dash, and I like that, but that may not be for me. You know, I mean, I started looking at some other videos on how to mold and repair plastic. So I watched one guy I forgot his name. I'll find it and put it down below, his link. But anyway, he shows using let me see if I get this right, an airless plastic welder from Urethane Supply Company. He uses that to fix bumpers, and he did a great job, and this stuff really works great. So I went ahead and picked one up on eBay used. So here it is. Let me show it to you. See if I can get it to you. I'm not good at this. That's the welder that welds plastic and urethane and all that good stuff. And here's what it looks like inside. It's nothing more than an iron, but the iron goes up to, I think, 800 watts. I couldn't be sure. It's got 2 heads. One head where you can put your rod in at the top, melt it, and it comes out the bottom, so that when you're welding, okay? And the other is to smooth it, which is this one. and it smooths the top. The heater control, this one actually goes onto your belt if you want to, and you can set the temperature gauge to the different plastics. Now I'm going to be using ABS right here. Now, so you know how the potential uses of this machine, they have a list and shows polyurethane, bumper covers, padded dashes, polypropylene, bumper covers, fan shrouds, ABS, grill instruments, panel consoles, polyethylene, ATV fenders, gas tanks, gas and overflow tanks. These are the plastic tanks, okay? You can kind of melt them together, repair brakes. TPO, bumper covers, trim interiors, nylon, radiator tanks and trim, polycarbonate, rigid bumpers and interior trims. And this is the stuff he used to repair his bumper cover. And this is good stuff. It's I don't have a lot of it. Here's what it is. It's called Uniweld Fiberflex. It's a urethane plastic with fibers inside of it, so that when you're welding it, it puts reinforcement fibers inside the brake. And anyway, you ought to see his video. I think it's really good. Let's show you what I've got here. What I did, start with this, is I took the original gauge out of the car. That's it. Okay? And as you can see, it only had 83,007 miles on the car, which is amazing. It could have turned over one time, I don't know. But anyway, I took the original gauge out because we're not going to use that. Set that off to the side. Then what I did was I stripped it down, as you can see. And what I thought about is, let's see if I can get a better shot at this. I'm going to cut this all out right here, because it's got a little section in here. I'm going to cut this all out. I'm going to cut this all out. And I'm going to put flat panels here, flat panel here, flat panel here. I'm getting rid of the cigarette lighter. I don't need that. And then and that'll be flat. I'll sand it all down, and hopefully, let me see if I can get a better picture here. Hopefully, once it's done, the whole inside will be carbon fiber vinyl, and the rest will, I'll paint the plastic. Of course, I dropped this. What I did was I made several blank templates to give me an idea of what the flat surface is going to look like. And it turned out pretty nice. I mean, it gives me, this is not going to be flat necessarily, but the gauge will still work in there. And I'm going to have, let's say, the tachometer here, or the speedometer. I'll have the water temperature gauge here. I'll have the speedometer or the tachometer here, and the other two will be for the water temperature, the fuel, and the amps. So there's your 6 gauges. Now let's look at the dash. This dash is in rough shape. As you can see, I've got a hole here that has to be repaired. Somebody's put a switch or something there. There are 1, 2, 3 holes here that have to be repaired. Another 2 holes here, and 2 little screw holes here, because of the because he had a gauge sitting there, a 3 set of mechanical gauges. He also must have did, this tab here, in the back you can see it. This tab here is the ground tab for the light, and for the windshield wiper, and for the wire that comes off of it goes to the gauge. Apparently what they did is that I think they screwed it too tight here, or he had a problem and he was messing with it and he broke the plastic here. Because this plastic went over, screw went into it, tighten it up, you see? Tighten it up. So I'll have to repair that, put a little blank there. He also damaged the corner tab here. Okay, battery went out earlier, so I went ahead and started working. Actually, that was this morning, It's now around, I guess, 4 o'clock. And it's a slow process. Anyway, what I had said earlier when I started this is that, you know, I'm trying to work on the dash. I'm trying to get it, you know, rebuild it. But it's a learning curve, and I'm going to show you what I did. Like I said, Sprayways had his method with the floss, and I could still do that, but I'm trying to do something a little different. I watched a couple of videos on plastic welding, and the guy did a really good job repairing a bumper cover with this welder. So I went ahead and bought one. They sell it for like $300 new, but I got this thing for $75, and I'll show it to you. God, I'm beat. Here it is, and it's a neat little welder, right? It's got the control here, and if you look in the control, it sets it up for the different kinds of plastic. We're doing ABS, so when we run it, it's R3. Essentially, what I've done so far is, let's take a look at this. I've removed this hole. I still have this one to go and this one to go, and a lot of little holes to repair. He had a underdash set of gauges here, and so this is going to be like a series here. Essentially what you do is you cut out the back, cut out the cones. I'll show you what I did. For example, this was here, cut it out, right? And this was here, right? Cut it off, cut it off. And then you make a piece out of ABS plastic. I bought a sheet of it. And you weld it in. You solder it in. I also bought this stainless steel screening. And you cut little strips of it. Oh, I don't know if I have any left. Anyway, you cut little strips and then you solder it. You can see a little bit right there. You just heat up and weld it into the plastic. It kind of melts into it, which kind of reinforces it. And once I get the blank done, you know, the goal, hopefully, will be to, if I can get it done here. Let's see. Will be to have my speedometer, or this will probably be my tachometer to the left. Then I'll have another gauge here. I'm not sure what it'll be. Probably, I don't know what it'll be. Maybe the amp meter or something, I'm not sure. Because the fuel gauge will be in the middle, okay? Then I'll have the speedometer over here, and then I'll have 2 gauges over here. And that'll give me my 6 gauges. And I guess this is a, you know, oil pressure and then water temperature, you know, over here. So it should look okay. I'll cover the whole dash over top of the plastic, sand it smooth, and then inside this opening I'm going to use carbon fiber vinyl, hopefully, and then I'll repaint the rest of it. And I've got to cut out and weld in something for the 1-DIN radio. I'm not going to use your traditional muscle car radio, but it's a different way to repair the dash. You know, repair it by welding plastic and sanding it and treating it like you would a body fender. You know, I mean, it's a learning curve, something I've never done before. you're going to learn with, as I learned. There's the one. It looks like shit, but it will sand, and then I will be able to put fiberglass in it, so that's fine. That's a nice thing. You can buy a dash for 6 gauges for 69 Chevelle, but you're going to spend $360-400 bucks. So, and it's different. It won't have the cigarette light. It won't have the ashtray. It's just different, you know. So I figure I'll go ahead and make my own. And from what I understand, looking at other people's videos, once you get this, all the body work done and, you know, everything filled and cut, right? You use a adhesive promoter on the plastic, and then you can paint it with a good plastic dye or a vinyl paint, you know, and it should work out pretty good. So we'll see. It's my little experiment, and yeah, you'll see what it looks like when I'm done. Either I screw it up totally, or I save myself a few $100 and make something custom, you know. Anyway, this is something I have not seen in YouTube. They plastic welding. They do bumpers, but this apparently you can do interior panels. You can do radiators. You can do you know, dashes and whatever. So for $75 worth a shot, and I'm going for it. All right, bud. Well, I'll bring you back when I get the next hole welded up.